because this is something, when I have an opportunity to talk to leaders, what makes you leaders to me is, one, you're here, and two, when we talk with you down through the months before we see you again, if we're fortunate enough to see you again, everybody's doing things. He's signing contracts, he's building capacity, he's watching over it, local aid is moving, everybody's moving. So these are good things. Sometimes I get questions talk about the success of the program. And I always remind those that question us about success of Labor Rising and try to point out the successes are not ours. They're the local unions, because they take whatever they feel is pertinent to them and important to them. And we would love to have at least a little footprint on that. But past that, we're a training facility. And we constantly are soliciting what's going on out there and trying to make it better. Rodney was here just a few months ago in the advanced class, and he's not a wallflower. Does this class look anything like it looked before?
No.
No, because we've learned so much from all of the guys, and that's how come I'm a pain in the ass sometimes and follow through and talk to you guys, because I want to hear what's going on, because you guys are the troops, and when you do something, it's got to be replicated out there or shared or incorporated into class if it's substantial enough. And we like to give credit. I don't know where the building trades really came apart, but it does seem like we have a hard time giving people credit when they've earned it and they've worked at it. There's a training platform. When people go out and earn and do things, we should be able to put Facebook posts, a couple more wins over here, a little more structure over here. Business manager does this or that, and that should be embraced and supported. And that, it's got to be my word, a highway, because organizing is wide open. If we look at organizing, and I'm going to go to contract to the construction manager piece. I'm only going to take about 20 minutes, and then Danny will have you for the rest of the morning and into the afternoon if need be. Hopefully we'll be out here about 12:30, 1 o'clock. However, we're going to talk about construction managers because I have leaders here. I have people that would know how to get this on an agenda if they felt it was appropriate, or more appropriately, unfortunately, you have to jam it onto agendas, especially if they feel strongly about it. Because what it looks like today, going back, so I'm going to use an arrow for down, going back, is we had tools. And we're not going to go hard into it, but we have top-down, bottom-up, pressure campaigns, 4x4 campaigns, which I don't even want to explain right now, corporate campaigns. We got all sorts of great names that go with some very good tools. But they've been exactly that, tools. They're not strategies, because until you can tell me exactly where and when you use them and why, and then have the expertise to understand each one of them, and class after class, most guys don't have a fundamental knowledge of recognitional intent. They don't have a fundamental knowledge of credibility determinations, how those are made, how they affect you. They don't have a fundamental knowledge of Section 7 and 8 and where your rights stop in the eyes of the law, and the practical realities of being in the field start. We always hear a guy has a right to organize, right? Does the guy have a right to talk about unions on the job site as long as he does it on his time? Yeah. What's the reality of that? What happens if he actually talks about organizing?
He'll get fired.
He'll get fired. Has anybody here been able to defend that in front of the NLRB over time?
No.
A handful. The guys are really good. But how do you go to a guy that has a family and give them all this stuff? Because that's what it is. The 35 rights that you have. When they know firsthand that you don't have any of those rights. And on top of it, some employers are so bold as to give you the check in front of everybody, which is an unbelievable violation. Not only do you fire you for talk about organizing, he makes you an example. So bottom line, today going backwards, this is what organizing historically looks like. The numbers are the numbers. We keep losing market share. Despite any way you want to spin it, the chart book is where we get most of our sources, but every single source says that are going backwards. And this last year, Numbers have gone up, but they've gone up at a little less than 1/3 of what they would have went up historically with the level of work that we now have coming on the books. Do you understand what I just said? So they can say, they don't want to say it, we've picked up 90, 100,000 people in 2013. Absolutely true. You know what it would have been historically, given this amount of work that's come on the books with the dollar spends? About 290,000 people. So yeah, we've raised, but not even keeping up with what we did in the past. So going forward, perhaps under some of the things that we pull together, Labor Rising, you're looking at building a compression zone and understanding the market from a structural business aspect. In other words, who's all out there? And starting to pull that information together, learn about SIC codes, blah, blah, blah. But we look at compression zones. We bring in heavy doses of technology to come into the 21st century across all quadrants: internal communications, communications to put on politicians through Twitter and other aspects, opposition research websites, click campaigns. We have a whole array of technology that's laying on its side, and as we learn to deploy it, we're going to change the dynamics and the discussions out there across many quadrants. And that's not even contractor marketing and paid AdWords. So these are the types of activities that are coming in. Opposition website is its own standalone piece. Controlling the hiring is its own strategy that can work within. But this is what the new model looks like going forward. So a long-winded way of introducing construction management entity that is owned by the building trades. We introduced it in some classes at the foundation level. Did I talk to any of you about construction management in the past? I didn't think so. I keep pretty good notes when I come out here. See all of this? We know where we're at with this. It's a struggle. We have all sorts of the things that we have to contend with. Not the least is pressure from the top to raise numbers, which is a legitimate pressure. We got to raise numbers or else we're going to die. This is a more new way to look at it. It seems to be being picked up and embraced where it's at. Guess what, guys? Both of these could go away tomorrow if we want to really get serious about changing the way we deliver construction going forward. What is the typical structure of construction delivery today? End user has a need, yes? From a pipeline to a roof to whatever. Depends if you're a sub or a sub of a sub like an insulator is, but end user has a need. Now, a construction manager has been in the picture for at least 20 to 25 years. And now they really are a dominant piece in anything from mid-markets on up. Somebody's overseeing the process on behalf of the end user. They claim, their claim to fame is very similar to what we say. They can bring a value. That's a big word, been used by business now, continues to be used by business, and people are selling product. Why are you paying a certain price? And if you can make a case that you're bringing a value. Well, their value, the construction manager's value, as portrayed to the end user for better than 25 years now, is we can save you money. We can run this job leaner and meaner. Now, if there was already a GC there, who's the GC? Yeah, he was always there on behalf of the end user for a long time. We've injected who? Construction managers. So if there's more oversight, and one of them says that I can deliver you even a better project, which is kind of in the face of the GC if you think about it, there's only one place this can really come from. Well, there's several places, but all of them are downstream. There's only one place net that it could come from. Busting up the GC and reading on his number, and he actually thought, or she actually thought, they were always the go-to guy anyway on behalf of the owner. So you're busting their chops. Although there is a new dynamic now that these guys are one and the same. They got the bullshit firewall in there, So a little bundle packages of services. But from this point here, the CM can only go downhill to contractors and workers. Be it union or non-union, they can extract enough concessions or control the price enough to claim that they're delivering a value and saving them money. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. If these guys down here happen to be union, the spread on the cost is much bigger, and we have been the prime targets for the CM. Because all of our subs, I push back, guys. My contractors, now I'm starting to talk to guys from all trades across the country. Their contractors are getting hammered on projects. They're getting squeezed by the CM. And then we keep having more and more concessions. Some of them are proper and right. I mean, times change, so you have to reflect that in your contracts and how you deliver people with modularization technology. But bottom line, they squeeze and squeeze and squeeze to save some money, put some in their pocket, and return some to the end user. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a primer we all understood. We're advanced. This all goes the frick away. Excuse my language, but frick is what I said, so don't hang me up on swearing. 23 years ago, Milwaukee Building Trades, in their entirety, created a construction management company. Literally, the building trades collectively own shares in a construction management firm whose whole job was to go out and present themselves as a construction manager. Do you grasp that idea? Can you fathom what would happen if we did it more and more, or increasingly more in this day and age? 23 years ago, there was some good relationships between labor and management and end users, and there was a little more of a let's do it together and cooperate and be collaborative approach, because it was in everybody's best interest. Unions had a bigger piece of the pie. Spring ahead to today, where the PLAs as of July 1st in this year are no longer valid, and PLAs all over are under attack. Right to work is all over the place. They're going to have the majority of states here pretty soon at the rate they're going. That collaboration, it seems to be the buzzword of the day, let's cooperate. When you look at it in hard numbers, the numbers behind all the cooperation just don't support that there's any cooperation at all. The end users, especially the construction user roundtable, if you look at the top 14 anti-union consultants and lawyers and look at their client list, which is right here, call my bluff, it's all the guys that we supposedly are talking to cooperate with. Well, they're funding between the lawyers, the lobbyists, the consultants, and the politicians, every single, they're funding everything to go against us and defeat us. So I don't know why we would continue to pursue that. You still have to have conversations, but this vehicle 23 years ago came into existence. They built business plans. Here's the articles of incorporation. All the trades bought in, and they became construction manager. And it immediately had an impact in that area, because we are competing with who now if we bring this document into existence? Think about that. Who are you competing with if you say you're a construction manager?
All of the general contractors.
You're just competing with this higher end person. Let's see if I can make this case in front of you. Construction delivery is going to change going forward. Part of it's due to technology and modularization. So a lot of it has to do with training and safety. Those are all in the mix constantly. But at least from the numbers, and I love to have the numbers challenged, and I'm bulletproof. It's not that I am, the numbers just are bulletproof. Someone's leaving this market in the next decade. And right now, the betting money is the unions are going to be leaving the market or whittled down to such an impotent position that they really have no power. I mean, we see that now. We're having to collaborate with religious organizations, minority organizations to maybe advance any type of legislation. So that's not unusual, but it shows you where we're at. But somebody's leaving this market. When I say somebody, it's for the first time with this document out there, the possibility could be the construction manager. Because if we can, legally and lawfully, and it's been challenged in courts, can become a construction manager, we can compete directly with who? Yep. And start to know, if you do not know, what their markup is on jobs. It's not the polite 3 or 6%. They take big bucks, and like a Mortensen, as I understand it, and I know the boys over there, so I think I understand it pretty well, as Bechtel and Kiewit, they don't come on jobs for less than 20 and 25%. That's right. Minimum. That's not even with the GC or the bundle package. So a 30%, even in a bad economy, from 08 till just recently, they took healthy spreads. If that 20% was combed out, let's keep it low, plus some, the intermixing of these two, so call it 23% to 30, and that is a real normal number on a mid-sized to big job. It's certainly a really good number on bigger work. What happens if you have an entity that is empowered by law to be a corporation that's owned by the building trades and is a construction manager? Do we have to put 30% in the bids? No. Understand, this is not a not-for-profit company. This is a for-profit company. So we can have and hold profits and become as big as we want to be. But early on, where we have no GCs or CMs that even look at us, which is a lot of areas now, this becomes viable. What's going to happen if this thing does roll out? If it started to roll out, maybe the national building trades or maybe some state building trades do some pilot cases. What do you think the response from construction users roundtable, so end users on one side, National Manufacturers Association, all the folks that get together, what do you think their response might be to such an entity?
They're cheaper.
Quietly, we've talked to 4 leaders in those industries. I cannot profess, and never will I lie, that were senior leaders. I don't have access to senior leaders, but having been a superintendent and worked throughout the fields across the country, I've gotten access to 4 people in power, auto, refinery, and pharmaceuticals. And interesting, what Matt said is they're tired of the bullshit too. They're tired of seeing a piece of paper when you move a dump. They're just tired of all of it. They want someone to come in their facilities, be competent, know how to get a job done, and get the hell out.
The bottom line, it's all about dollars. That's right. We can do it cheaper. That's what it always boils down to.
Guys, listen to what Matt said. Did we plan this, Matt?
No.
It is all about dollars for these guys. So if somebody's got to be odd man out going forward, for the first time, a document exists that was brought to fruition. I'll tell you why it died. That puts us in a driver's seat, or at least gives us an opportunity to get to the big table. Because we could go to an end user, it's overly simplistic, and say, we've dealt with you. We know your facility. You got your engineering department. We have the ability to hire safety. We have the ability to create firewalls and do engineering and all that stuff. Do a whole package for you. But what I'm getting at is, we don't have to hit them up for anywhere near the dough that they're being hit up for. Put them directly in competition, but more importantly, get rid of all of the middlemen that exist that drive us journeymen, regardless if we're union or not, nuts. How many white hard hats and safety officers are on a job now? It almost paralyzes a job. Because otherwise, good men that want to get on a run and do it safely are always being second guessed and talked to like their kids, especially, no offense to the young guys. Young guys are very important in all ways, shapes, and forms. They're the energy, they're the next wave. With no offense, a young guy or gal that's got a white hard hat on that just come out of Cornell or Purdue or maybe a safety program really has no frickin' clue of the practical applications of safety. It's book taught. So we get rid of all of that. We have professionals, dealing with professionals. We go in, we work on the job, and we get the hell out of there. We can maintain some pretty healthy numbers. Numbers enough to keep a guy or gal in a career path to service these people, even though these new facilities are going to be more smart facilities, so they won't need as much maintenance going down the road and so on and so forth. So this is also a good vehicle, guys, to have in your back pocket to play poker with. Because you're going to get threatened by the CMs. Where we still have some relationships with CMs, and in some cases they're healthy, guess through their response to the exact same equation.
Yeah, but all of our big construction